If you want to know if you're actually a good hair transplant candidate, or where you should go to get a hair transplant, or if you need help creating a hair growth routine and regimen, you can go ahead and book a one-on-one 60-minute Zoom strategy session with me. I'll answer pretty much any of your burning questions, as well as help you create a roadmap for your hair transplant, as well as creating a roadmap for a hair growth routine and regimen to maximize your success for your hair growth. If you're interested in that, there's a link in the description below. So you're planning to get a hair transplant done in Turkey, and you have some questions and concerns, which is absolutely very normal. When I was actually going through my own transplant in Turkey last year, I had the similar questions and I had similar concerns, and I wish I kind of had a video that just kind of broke down exactly everything that I should be looking into in terms of cost, in terms of FUE, FUT, recovery, results, all that good stuff. So in this video, I want to bring to you literally every single thing that you need to know about getting your hair transplant done in Turkey. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. The first and foremost, most commonly asked question is the cost. How much does it cost to get your hair transplant done in a country like Turkey versus doing it over here in the West? So when it comes to just your total cost, obviously one is going to be your fare to actually get to Turkey yourself. I don't know exactly how far you are or where you live, but approximately your flight ticket is going to be anywhere in between $1,000 to $1,500. The next thing is going to be the transplant itself. There's no fixed amount that's like kind of standard for all clinics. It really depends on where you go. Some places will charge you per graft, like how many hair follicles that you need to be transplanted onto your head. And I want to say majority, like 90% of the other clinics, they will just give you a flat rate based off of, you know, the different packages or add-ons or additional treatments that you do with them. Like for example, the place I went to, it was not just a hair transplant. I got 6 months worth of the supplements, the shampoos, the hair growth serums, as well as some of the vitamins. And I also did something called an oxycare, which is where they put you inside of this chamber where they give you an immense amount of oxygen to go ahead and maximize those results. So it really depends on exactly what you're looking at. On the low end, I do know that some of my friends that I've known, they have gotten a hair transplant in Turkey for as little as $2,500. And I do know some people who have gotten their hair transplant done for as close to $7,000. The one that I went to in the package that I opted for personally myself, I paid somewhere around like $4,300 to $4,500. That comes up to be like 35-50 euros. And that included like the full package and everything. At the end of the day, I didn't want to go too cheap to the point where I'm compromising quality, and I didn't want to drop a whole bag on a hair transplant where I could just spend a couple thousand more and just get it done in the US. So in terms of cost, you're looking to spend anywhere in between, I want to say for a quality job, anywhere in between $3,000 to $5,000. The next thing that you want to go ahead and decide is which kind of technique do you want to go with. The two most common ones in Turkey are DHI and FUE. So DHI, apparently there's, you know, less bleeding. I don't know the exact process. The way that they go ahead and implant the follicle is through like almost as like this syringe kind of thing, and then it just goes like directly in your head one by one, whereas with FUE it's done in a I guess faster manner. Personally, I don't know myself on exactly how much more bleeding or how much less bleeding there is. So what I actually got was the Sapphire FUE method. This is like the latest and greatest invention that they have in Turkey, known as the Sapphire FUE method. This is where they use the blade to make the incision is actually made out of a sapphire crystal. So with that blade, those incisions, they're actually a lot more refined. It's better for that wound to heal. And after looking at some of the testimonials from the Sapphire FUE method, it has shown to be a little bit superior to the traditional FUE in terms of yielding better results. So I went ahead and just did my Sapphire FUE method, and personally I did it at the place where they actually invented this method themselves. In Turkey, that's a very common thing, and there's a lot of clinics that offer Sapphire FUE. I rather would just do it where that technique was originally discovered and invented, and for that reason that was like a no-brainer for me. Next up is choosing the right clinic. When it comes to getting your hair transplant done in Turkey, you want to make sure you're not getting caught up in those giant hair mills that go ahead and promise you one thing and then you get another thing. They don't know the difference between double, triple, and single grafts in terms of graft placements, or have inexperienced staff. That is why it is extremely important for you to know who you're going to, know the team, know the doctor, know exactly what qualifications that they have before you let them work on your hair. So a great way to know what to expect realistically beyond all the marketing BS is go directly whichever clinic that you're interested in, go on their Instagram page and see exactly exactly, you know, how are their, you know, clients who've gotten their hair work done, how are their results, right? And that is basically what you can very closely expect in terms of your own results. Another key factor is the team. You really want to inquire about the team from the clinic that you're going to be getting your hair transplant at. And so for example, if the trachologists or the assistants, they're going to be the ones transplanting the grafts, which is completely fine. A lot of these places, it's not the doctor doing the surgery, it's going to be most of these assistants doing it. But as long as they are well trained, well equipped, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they have some sort of certification that they actually went to school for it, or they've been properly trained, that's when you know that you are at the right place. It's your hair, it's something that you care about. Again, no good deal like a $500 or $1,500 hair transplant is worth risking for if you're going to be getting a bot job or a bad job where, you know, someone is just too naive or inexperienced. That's why I would recommend, even if the trichologists are going to be the one implanting the grafts, go to a clinic where the doctor is going to be supervising the operation at least. The main part in most of these hair transplants is that the doctor comes in to go ahead and make the incisions from the Sapphire FUE blade, or I don't know with the DHI how it exactly works, but yeah, the doctor goes ahead and makes the incisions, and then the rest of the team, the trichologists, are going to be the ones who are going to be mainly doing the implantation of these grafts. So it's going to be a whole team effort. Basically, there's going to be a couple of people who are going to be doing the transplant itself, and there's going to be a team of these few other people that are going to be separating your hair follicles, whether that's single, double, or triple grafts, and, you know, place them accordingly. Now again, if you want to go ahead and save yourself from all the headaches and having to go ahead and research and find a clinic that does all this stuff, I'll just go ahead and leave the link to the clinic that I went to in the description below, so you can go ahead and check them out and contact them for your hair transplant needs. Another very common question that people ask me is, how long should they plan to stay in Turkey? Now this is a great question, because the hair transplant procedure itself, it's not that long. Maximum it's going to take you is maybe 2 days. The first day might be your consultation, the second day is going to be the actual hair transplant itself, and then, you know, the follow-up days where they just put the whole bandage up, put on a nice serum, and give you all of the post-care treatments, and then you should be on your way. That only takes a couple hours to do. So in theory, you can go ahead and knock this out within 3 days, but I don't recommend actually having it be that quick of a process. The reason why I say that is because your head has gone through a lot in those 2 days, right? There's literally anesthesia injected, there's hair follicles taken out, there's hair follicles implanted, all that, and on top of that, you are not going to get proper sleep. And that's just the truth for the first couple of days, because you might have like some slight pain, you might have some headaches, you know, and that is completely normal in terms of, you know, the recovery process, and you're just not going to be well rested, and in that state it would not be smart for you to go ahead and travel back to your home country. So in fact, what I would recommend is actually staying in Turkey for about 5 to 7 days, because your first 2 days it's going to be crap. I'm just going to tell you that's how I felt right after my hair transplant, because again, my, you know, head was completely swollen and the sleep wasn't the best. I was sleeping on a travel pillow, and overall I was just in, you know, quite a bit of discomfort, and in that I did not want to add on another headache of traveling, where especially your head is susceptible to infections, even potentially bumping into something and having your grafts fall out, basically just doing anything endanger your scalp. This is a very sensitive time, so you want to go ahead and protect it and give it a couple days or a few more days after your transplant to just fully rest. In the meantime, what I would highly recommend you do, assuming that you go to Turkey, is to be a tourist. Go explore the city of Istanbul. It's a beautiful city. There's so many things you can do. There's amazing food, there's amazing history, architecture, all these cool things. So just take a tour, chill out, and just see a new country and be a tourist. And in that sense, it can not only just be a medical trip, but it can also just be a little mini vacation for you to just get away. Now, the whole transplant stuff sounds good and all, but what should you expect before your transplant? This is something I kind of wish I had known before I went into it, because I was really not as nervous going into my transplant, because honestly I didn't know what to expect, right? And I just thought, hey, I'm just gonna be numb, I'm not gonna feel it. And little did I know, I was a little bit intimidated in the beginning because I didn't know exactly what I was walking into. So before you actually go ahead and get your transplant, I know a lot of people are afraid of the pain. They may have a very low pain tolerance, and that is completely understandable. I want to say the most painful part that you're going to go through is going to be the anesthesia. Now, for me, on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of the pain level on anesthesia, I would personally give it a maximum 4 out of 10. It just felt like little pinches all around my scalp until I was finally numb. But that's just me. Some people that I've heard who've gotten a hair transplant and have reported back to me, a lot of people have different pain tolerance levels, different sensitivities, and for them they were saying, oh, you know, it was like a 7 out of 10, or some people say even 9 out of 10. So it's really different from person to person. I would say on average 6 out of 10 would be the norm, but then they definitely give you like some calming medicine before you go ahead and get your transplant. So if you have a fear of needles like I do, I was definitely a lot more calm had I not been on those drugs, honestly. Another fact that you want to keep in mind is that your first 3 hours into the hair transplant, you are going to be slightly uncomfortable. The reason why is because you're laying on your stomach while they're extracting the grafts from the back. So you're going to be basically on your stomach for 3 hours, and that's basically where you're going to be chilling, but your head's going to be numb. You know, you can have them put on some music if that's going to help you kill some time, but that's pretty much the most uncomfortable part that you're going to face. Once those 2-3 hours have gone by and they've extracted enough grafts that's going to be suffice to go ahead and transplant up on top, that's when you're going to be finally on your back, and then you're going to have a little lunch break. Once you have your lunch, you have a little bathroom break, you drink some water, you freshen up, that's when the actual hair transplant is going to start. So where you're going to be laying down on your back, and there's going to be like a TV or something, you know, depending on the clinic that you go to. But the one that I went to, they had like a nice little TV. You have Netflix, you have Amazon Prime, and you can just watch your TV shows. And again, you don't feel a thing, so you're 100% numb. Very comfortable, very breezy. Again, nothing to really worry about over there. The doctor will come in and make the incisions, which takes probably maximum 45 minutes to an hour, and then the trichologists are going to go ahead and start transplanting those grafts onto your hairline or wherever you go ahead and you need the hair follicles. And you can just watch Netflix, kind of watch your favorite TV show or, you know, movie or whatever that you want to watch, and that time goes by like this. It's a pretty fast and easy process, and once that's complete, you are pretty much done, and you can be on your way to the hotel and just kind of get some rest. So that's pretty much the whole, you know, timeline of what happens from the beginning to the end in terms of you know, your whole hair transplant procedure. I know it sounds kind of intimidating, but it's really not that bad once you're in it, and once you're in it, you just kind of accept your fate and just get it over with. Now let's talk about recovery and healing, as this is probably a big concern for people, especially when you're like back home. You're like, okay, what do I do to maximize the recovery, or what can I not do that may potentially affect the results of my hair transplant? The first 2 weeks you want to be definitely very careful. You don't want to go ahead and expose yourself to much sunlight, or, you know, get like a sunburn or anything. Obviously being extremely careful of not bumping your head into something and risking some of the hair follicles falling out, because they're still fairly new. But honestly, after around day like 8 to 10, basically the newly transplanted hairs end up becoming scabs, and then they'll start coming out in the shower, which is again nothing to really worry about, and they're pretty much solid after like the first couple of weeks. Now with that being said, I remember my doctor and my clinic where they were recommending me not to work out for the first 2 to 3 weeks as well. So that's something, if you're an active person, you want to kind of ease off the pedal, maybe just go for a little walk or something, but nothing that can cause excessive sweating or, you know, some hypertrophy treatments, or, you know, you're lifting some weights or something. Like you want to give the dumbbell a little bit of a break. I don't know why I have this dumbbell here, but yeah, so definitely just take it a little easy, take a chill pill for the first couple of weeks, and then once you're like 2-3 weeks in, you can just return back to your normal life and you should be fine. Your clinic should give you maybe some additional enhancements of serums and lotion, as well as a specific shampoo that you have to use after your transplant. So make sure you're just following those guidelines and using those products, and to make sure that you're having proper healing and you're yielding the best results from your procedure. But it's usually a pretty simple and straightforward process. They give you all the directions. All you have to do is literally just follow 1, 2, and 3, and you're pretty much good to go. Within your first 2 to 3 months, that's when you're going to start seeing the shed. You're going to start seeing the transplanted grafts fall off, and you know, this is a pretty hard time. You know, this is like the ugly duckling stage, where you are going to be basically losing all of the hair, and that's kind of like the toughest part to go through. Now, while you're going through that, I think it is extremely important for for you to create a post hair transplant treatment plan. Now that may mean just having some sort of regimen where you're stimulating growth in terms of maybe even a hair massage or some hair growth oil or minoxidil or even finasteride or whatever supplement, treatment, drug that you plan to use. The reason why I say that is because a hair transplant is not a cure. It is simply a treatment. So just because you are going to get results like this, right, does not mean those results are here to stay. Yeah, the transplanted grafts, they're permanent, but the native hairs around it, they're still at danger and are still extremely sensitive to DHT, the hormone that basically causes hair loss. So you want to go ahead and do your best to still continue stimulating hair growth, blocking DHT, so that way you're reaping benefits of both the hair transplant as well as some of your in-home treatments that you're going to be doing to not only grow the hairs naturally, as well as keep some of that and have a long-lasting hair transplant before you have to go in for a second procedure potentially. We want to go ahead and prolong it, maximize our results. We don't want to end up where we may even have hair for a couple of years and then it ends up going back to where we were. We want to go ahead and preserve this, and that's why creating a post-treatment plan is extremely necessary. So these are pretty much all of the main things that I've had questions from all of you guys in terms of getting a hair transplant in Turkey. So I decided to just compile it, make a video, make sure that you guys have all the right information before you go ahead and pull the trigger, so you know what you're getting yourself into and you know exactly what to do before, during, and after your hair transplant. So if you guys did find this video helpful or enjoyed it, make sure to let me know by giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Other than that, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.